Alright, in this video I'd like to do a demo of a player that's moved using key presses. I'm holding the keys down. I'm just going to use my little canvas sandbox that I can play around with here. It's just some start code, has the basic get the element in the context, set the width and height, all that stuff. And then we have our draw function that loops over and over again, right, because of this request animation frame. Alright, I do my logic and my drawing, and the first thing we're going to do is we're going to set up, right now it's just the background, we're going to get a player. Because in order to move a player around the screen, we need to have variables to change, right? Player's location, that kind of stuff. So I'll set some global variables here. We're going to create a variable called player, and I'm going to assign it to be an object, which is just a collection of variables or a collection of properties. So we do that by using curly braces, and then we just do these properties, or key value pairs. So the player needs an X position, which will start at, I don't know, maybe 400, and then you do a comma. Then it needs a Y position, which will start at 300. Maybe we can also do, I won't change the size of the player, but it's pretty common to do a width, maybe 25, and a height of 25. And let's give the player a speed as well, maybe speed of 5. Okay, and that is my lovely player object. And the way I access these different properties is just going player.x, player.y, etc. Okay? Well, maybe we should have a color as well. Okay, let's try that. So now inside of my drawing here, after I draw the background, I would like to draw the player. So we'll set the fill style to be player.color. Right, that way I can control the color. I can change the color of the player if I want at any time in the program. And then we'll do a filled rectangle at player.x, player.y, player.width, comma, player.height. We'll save that, and hopefully, hey, there's my player. Yay. Okay, that's good. Now to actually move the player, well, I want to do something like this. Player.x plus equals player.speed. Right, that'll add 5, which is the speed, to the player's x value, and it should now zoom, move. Okay, but I don't want it to always move by the speed. I only want it to move if I'm holding a key down. So we're going to need some more variables here. We're going to have variables for left pressed, the left arrow pressed, and I'm going to initialize it to false. Let right pressed be false as well. Let up pressed be false, and let down press, there we go, be false as well. Okay, and the idea is what we're going to do with these variables is we're going to listen for events, and when key events happen, key down events happen, we'll set these variables to true. When key up events happen, we'll set them to false. So that we know I can test in my draw function if that key is currently being pressed, that it's being held down. So let's do our event stuff down here. Event stuff, which will go below this draw function that we're doing. And we'll just add an event listener to the document. We're going to listen for the key down event, and I'm going to just call a function called key down handler. It's going to handle the key down stuff. Key down handler, and we're going to have a parameter here. I'm just going to call it E, or event is common too, and it's going to store information about the event. Okay, so this event listener, when it calls this function, gives me information about it. And one of the things I can look for is e.code. So I can test if e.code is equal to arrow left, which is the special code for the left arrow key. Then I can say left pressed is assigned true. Else if e.code is equal to arrow right, then obviously right pressed would be assigned true. Else if e.code is equal to arrow up, up pressed is assigned true. Else if e.code equals arrow down, then down pressed is assigned true. And hopefully I got the right codes here. Sometimes what I do just to make sure is I just do a console.log of e.code just to make sure that this is good. Okay, now once the key is down and this variable becomes true, what I can do here is I can say, well, if right pressed is true, then I want to run this code. Right? I don't always want to change the x coordinate by adding the speed to it. I only want to do it if the right arrow key is being pressed. So at the beginning of the program, that's false, so it shouldn't happen. Once I press the key down, it'll make that right press be true if I press the right key, and then it should move. Let's test that. Okay, good. So it's not moving right now. As soon as I press right pressed, ta-da! And that was the right key code, arrow right. And then left is arrow left, arrow up, arrow down. Okay, looks good. Okay, so now that's great, but I need to stop it once I let go of the key. So I'm just going to copy and paste this here. And we're going to change the event that we're listening for to key up. We'll have a function called key up handler. So we'll change this to the key up handler. I can get rid of this key codes, e.code stuff. And now in my key up handler, if I have released the arrow left key, I want this to now be false. And if I release the arrow right key, I want this to be false. Arrow up key, this should be false. And this should be false. Okay, so now hopefully I hold the key down and moves, I let go, it stops. Right, so whenever right pressed is true, it'll move. As soon as I let go, it becomes false and it stops. Okay, awesome. So now all we have to do is in here add the else if left pressed is true, then player.x plus equals negative player.speed. Right, so that'll be -5. We'll add a negative, so it'll subtract. You could do minus equals as well, but I generally like to just control it this way. Okay, else if up pressed, if up pressed has the value of true, then we want to change the y value. And to go up, we want to subtract player.speed. And then down pressed, we want to add, because the y-axis goes down, is positive going down. So player.y plus equals player.speed. Save that, and now I should be able to move left, right, up, and down. And if I hold both, if I try to move diagonally, I can't. Right? It's only allowing me to move up, down, left, or right. And that's fine. The reason for that is because this is one big chained selection statement. So it's only going to do one of these codes. Right? So if I'm holding right and up, this will be true, sorry, the right press will be true, so it'll do this, and it'll ignore the up pressed. All right? We can change that if we want. We can actually make this into two separate, right? This just deals with the horizontal movement, and then the up and down would deal with the vertical movement. And because they're now separate if statements, if I hold the right key and the up key, it'll test this, and it'll move me to the right, and then it'll test this, and it'll move me up. Okay, so let's test that out. And now in here, if I can hold multiple up and down, and I can move diagonally as well. So whichever one you prefer, depends on what you're building, I guess. All right, that's a simple Keypressed Player. Lots of good concepts in here. This idea of the variables for the player stored in an object, right? The different properties here. These Boolean variables, right? These variables are being used to store Boolean values, false or true. We use those Boolean variables here to say, hey, if this is true, do this. And because this function loops over and over again, as long as this is true, it'll do this. And then we had our event stuff that basically toggles these Boolean variables to true or false. Key down, it becomes true. Key up, it becomes false. All right. Hope that made sense. Take care, and we'll see you in the next video.